Greetings, or what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is presently hiding and the magpie is presently casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle, fresh from the ladder, featuring spawning in the north. It's going to be the Soviet pieces of Jesulin. And spawning in the south, it is going to be the Overcommand West pieces of 3imWeckla. So, yep, the stage is set here for a pretty high-end game. Those of you, who are in touch with the scene will know Jesulin pretty well, and probably will know 3imWeckla pretty well. These guys been playing for a good old time. They know their way around the block when it comes to Company of Heroes 2, so looking forward to see what kind of strategies they're going to bring. Looks like 3imWeckla is going to go for the Luftwaffe Ground Forces support doctrine straight off the bat. So kind of an early pick on that one, seeing as how it doesn't actually give you any benefits until 2 command points, but, that'll be fine. Looks like we've got a conscript, or is that a penal? That's a penal opening, isn't it? Oh, sorry, no, it's a conscript opening. Oh yeah, no tech building, sorry. Sometimes I get confused with the Soviet symbols, because they do all look kind of similar. Anyway, conscript's going to be moving out on the map here for Jesulin. Let's see what commanders he's brought. Mechanized support tactics. Ooh. Yeah, this is one of those maps where if it goes late enough for an ISE 152, then it's like so dominant. We've got the shot rifle frontline tactics, and we've got the guard motor coordination tactics. So 3 pretty spicy commanders here for Jesulin. He's going to reserve his pick for now, and we'll see what he goes for a little later. We're going to have the first shots here, fired in anger, as these 2 players going to start the battle in earnest. 3 squads of Volks going to be the initial build order here for Weckla, so nothing too extraordinary. No Kubel opening. Looks like we've got a second squad of engineers coming up at a relatively early-ish timing here for Jesulin, so I wonder if that means that he's going to get a delayed rifle command? I don't know. No, I feel like if you're going to do a rifle command opening, then you already have the rifle command by now, so don't know. We're just going to have to see what Jesulin's got planned for these units. Further Max Schlepper moving out onto the field, and we're going to get some idea of what 3imWeckla wants to do tech-wise here. Looks like Jesulin just about getting the better end of field control in the early game here. Wow, these 2 victory points are so close to each other on this map, aren't they? Like, it never ceases to amaze me. So we've got our first protracted battle here involving most of the units from both forces here. Looks like Weckles takes the battle in the west, but now he has to be careful as there is a Flammenwerfer burninating his guys in heavy cover. 3 Volks Grenadiers do go down in short order to them. Here comes an incendiary grenade though. It's going to force the Soviet units to keep moving around, and there are a lot of Axis rifles pointed at these guys here. It's going to come down to just a damage trade-off here, but the Flammenwerfer is probably going to be the deciding factor here. Burninating these Volks in cover. Another incendiary grenade though comes down in a good position. So Weckla giving a good account of himself here, and the Storm Pioneers bravely come forward and trade out for damage, but actually they just didn't get that much damage in against these conscripts, and I think, well, I don't know actually, I think Weckla is going to take this. He should have enough DPS to burn down these conscripts, and that just leaves the engineers, yeah, who don't really have enough by themselves. So, nice fight there put together by Weckla. A battle of small margins there. All came down to positioning and use of abilities. Bear in mind, both players invested a reasonable amount of munitions there. 2 incendiary grenades for Weckla. Jesulin going for the Flammenwerfer. And we do have a commander pick here for Jesulin. It is going to be the Mechanized Support Tactics commander, so we could well see the ISU 152 if this game goes late. And we've got to be honest, this map, games do tend to go late. It's quite hard to... Well, games on this map either end very early or very late in my experience. I mean, that's like, obviously they can end at any time, but just because of the way the map is positioned, like it's just really hard to have your opponent under a triple cap. It's a small map, the victory points are quite close together, and unless you get a super decisive engagement, it's quite hard to, force your opponent from the map entirely. So we tend to see games go quite long on this map and be decided by the sort of last few victory points that are left by each player. Gonna have some mines coming down here for Weckla, cunning stuff. So I like this commander pick on this map. What else does it give you again? So you get the camo Zisk guns, you get guards rifle infantry, sweet, we all do love them. Mark vehicle, ever the useful ability. IL-2 precision bombing strike, nice. And the ISU 152, of course. So momentarily here, Weckla will have the ability to call in Fallschirmjägers, but he doesn't have the manpower for that, so that's clearly not going to be on the cards for a little bit. Looks like we've got a support weapon camper not... Oh, sorry, my bad, sorry. We've got a Wow, we've got a battle group at HQ opening. Sweet, and it's going to be an MG34 thereafter. So Weckla going to be diversifying his force roster just a bit. Jesulin still techless at the moment, so we'll have to see if he decides to go for a tech building in the near future, or if he just thinks conscripts are good enough. You have to think he'll want something, because like a machine gun answers conscripts pretty hard. We'll have to see. Where's the machine gun getting committed right now? Into sort of the doorstep of the base. Okay, yeah, he'll move that. Uh-oh, these conscripts actually could catch this MG. We've got combat in the west and the east of map right now. Rifle shots being exchanged. Volks Grenadiers, conscripts, Storm Pioneers, all doing their thing. But here's the MG getting caught out. And that should be a quick molly. Are we going to see the molly? Oh, sorry, Molotovs are not actually researched. Okay, fair enough. I thought I saw the Molotov start animation there, but it was not. Okay, so the MG is okay. These Storm Pioneers are working down the conscripts over here. These Volks get forced back in the east of map, so Jesulin maintains field control for now. Some brave Volks going to push forward, being covered by an MG to grab middle VP. Man, these Storm Pioneers are still just chipping away for damage. Oh, that was the mines. So some combat engineers do find the mines. A couple of engineers go down, but that's a cheap squad, so you really don't mind too much if you're Jesulin. Conscripts here are going to merge immediately to bring them up to full strength, valuing the flamethrower, having it in the fight here as Jesulin, and that is wise. We've got guards on the field now. PTRS already on those boys, actually. Sorry, it's DP machine guns. That is DP machine guns, right? Yeah. So do they just come with the PTRS? Because I can see one there. Do guards just come with the PTRS nowadays? Yes. Has that always been a thing? I feel like you had to pick before. I don't know. Whatever. Fallschirmjägers here going to be committed to the field. And now we've got some elite infantry on the field for both players. So this is going to be interesting. Still no tech for... Okay, no, we do have some tech. It is a support weapon Campanile here for Jesulin. So he's going to have access to the Zis gun, the mortar tube, and the Maxim if he wants them. And they could all be useful, to be honest. Does he know that it's a battle group at HQ opening? Can I check that if I click on Jesulin? Okay, so he doesn't actually know what the opening is. I guess now is around about the time that a Puma or a Panzer II would be hitting the front. So if he doesn't see it for the next minute or so, I imagine Jesulin will know what he's up against. So he's probably not going to waste any money on a Zis gun, actually. And in any case, he kind of has the PTRSs as a sort of light insurance policy in case his opponent did go for the mechanized regiment HQ. So, yeah, kind of like the position here for Jesulin. He's going to have to yield mid. These are Fallschirmjägers, pretty pokey. And let's see, let's check out the scoreline here. 487 for Jesulin over the 458 of Weckla. Just a pretty even game so far. Both players getting established into the mid-game fairly nicely. Where have we got these mines being... Oh, sorry, it's not mines being built. It's a Tank of E Battalion command. Okay, so we could be seeing a T-70 in the near future. Jesulin has had pretty good fuel income. I mean, this fuel point here has just never been threatened. In fact, both players being sort of a little gentleman's agreement where they're each allowing each other to have the fuel points. So... yeah, so we could see a T-70, or we could just see Jesulin just do some hard teching. We'll see. Okay, it is going to be a T-70, fair enough. I think I like the T-70 here. I mean, at the very least it forces a Kettenwerfer, I think.
The enemy has cut off a sector.
Yeah, I think it definitely forces a Kettenwerfer. Oh wow, we've got Schwer Panzer HQ coming up in a reasonably forward location. This is a good map for that because it's still basically on the doorstep of your base, but it also covers like... actually, you know what, it's not going to cover either of the victory points, but it does cover the munitions point, and it makes it safe. Like, your Soviet units are occupying this area of the map. It's like super terrible for the southern spawning player, so... this makes it much harder for that to happen, as well as just being a very safe position for your Schwer Panzer HQ. Like, it is unlikely that you're going to lose this building to a siege from Zis guns or anything else. So, yeah, that makes sense. Pretty sensible, if boring position there. Here comes the T-70 light tank now. And a Kettenwerfer already on the queue here, so Weckla is going to have his answer here in a timely fashion. Very nicely done from him. Alright, here we go. It's going to immediately displace the MG, and Jesulin's going to seize back control of mid, so nicely done there. Scorelines near as makes no difference even at this point, as we move up to the 10-minute mark in this game. This has just been a nice opening here from both players. Was that some mines? I think these Volks Grenadiers just run over some mines there. So they are weak, but they're going to be fine. Schwerpanzer HQ going to put down some Dakar on these engineers and force them back. Wow, actually, it does cover this building as well, so that's a nice thing. This position does have range on the building, so I mean, I'm sure Weckla knew that when he put it down, but it's just nice stuff. T-70 just continuing to chip in for value, actually finding some shots on the Fallschirmjägers there. Not for too much damage, but you know, that will feed veterancy very heavily. Kettenwerfer in position here. So now the light tank is going to have to GTFO. Oh, getting lucky here. None of these rockets connecting. Is he going to go for an attack round? No. So looks like the FG-42 upgrade finishes on the Fallschirmjäger, so they are now like acid death for infantry, but they have to get out of there. There's just too many allied rifles to expose your very expensive elite Axis infantry to. So let me see. He's just spent his fuel. Actually, where has all of Weckla's fuel gone? Has he just not had good fuel income or something? I feel like he should have a vehicle. Did he just spend it all on the Schwerpanzer HQ and has not regenerated as much as I thought he would? Yes, so. Meanwhile, Jesulin, let's have a check here. Okay, yep, so he does go for the mechanized armor Campanier, opening up the full, or nearly the full Soviet tech tree. So as soon as he has some fuel, he could take a pick from that building. But I imagine he's going to save until he has some slightly better information about what to go for. And this T-70 just doing work here.
Territory is falling into enemy hands.
Yeah, pretty even game so far, but Jesulin just starting to get the upper side of some of these trades and just starting to take a little more field control than Weckla is able to. So, yeah, definitely beginning to open up a lead here as Jesulin. The last like minute or two, basically since the T-70 has come onto the field, have been tough for Weckla, but that's just the ebb and flow of this matchup. And he just needs one thing to go right, and then he'll be right back in this as Weckla. So yeah, Phil's behind by about 60 odd tickets right now. Another squad of Fallschirmjäger on the field, so double Fallschirmjäger, that is a lot of Dakar. Immediately gets the FG-42 upgrade coming up on them as well. So, okay, let's see. So, okay, we're starting to get to the amount of fuel where these players have to be thinking about what choices they're going to take. So I wonder who's going to go for a fuel choice first. I wonder what that choice is going to be. I feel like this is a fine spot for a Panzer IV. If we do see a Panzer IV, I feel like if Jesulin saves, then an Su-85. This is just a great map for an Su-85 because the middle of the map is so open. It's quite hard to catch the Su-85, and that tank destroyer will just lock down large portions of the map. It makes it very hard to get value out of any Panzer IV or anything like that. So I guess alternatively, for the same reasons that the Su-85 is good, the Jagdpanzer is also good on this map, and there's already a T-70 on the field, so Weckla may want to save for those. I don't know, there's just something in my DNA that, like, anytime I look at a teching decision, okay, so we're going to see a T-34. Anytime I look at a teching decision that involves the option of a tank destroyer, I just always find a way of justifying it. I don't know what it is, I just love microing tank destroyers and vetting them up and things. So yeah, I have to be a little bit like skeptical of myself whenever I'm like, yeah, he could totally get a tank destroyer here. I'm just like, yeah, but is that the right choice, or do I just really like tank destroyers? I don't know. Faust is going to come through onto the T-70, so that'll force that one off the front line for a couple of minutes here whilst it reloads, maybe even less actually. Some engineers are here in the hood. We've got combat in the middle as well. These Fallschirmjägers beginning to get some veterancy on themselves now. Guards infantry, of course, a fine target for that. What is this ability here? Why do the guards have the? Why do the guards have an icon above them? Is that a? Not quite sure what that was. Here comes the T-34 onto the field now. I'm loving these skins. Pretty cool. And those are just a really looking tank. So, yeah, here comes the T-34. And that will obviously be the Kingmaker on the field. In conjunction with the T-70 provides quite the armoured advantage here for Jesulin, who's, oh my goodness, the T-70 still being a menace to these Fallschirmjäger on the field. Weckla does manage to establish a double cap right now, so that's pretty nice. T-70 just going to be policing the Axis infantry around the map, and that is its job right now. Where's the MG-34? Okay, it just now gets set up covering mid. I was going to say, this is where it wants to be. Conscripts, sorry, engineers also taking West VP here. There are some mines here that haven't been finished constructing. There we go, Jesulin's going to get straight on that. Good position for mines this. You can see Jesulin favours these mines because not only do they cover this point, but they're also on like a really common Axis fallback route here. So any Axis units like falling back from this area will tend to route themselves onto these mines. So Jesulin here, using his map knowledge of course, a very seasoned veteran. I dread to think how many thousands of hours Jesulin has on this game. So he knows the fallback routes and things pretty well. We're in a weird position now. If you look at the top right, look at the top left. I actually prefer Jesulin's army because, of course, he has the 2 tanks. There are 2 Kettenwerfers out now for Weckla, though. But his army is actually quite small compared to the amount of units that Weckla has. Even the supply cap, actually, firmly in the Axis players, who just has like a bulkier army in terms of supply cap. That doesn't necessarily, of course, mean it's better, but it's just an interesting place to be. Okay, so the T-34 comes in here, gets pushed back by a Kettenwerfer. These mines here, there isn't actually no metal detector on the... Oh no, there is a metal detector, but they don't have it out on these Storm Pioneers, so that's risky. Meanwhile, whoa, that's a lot of Dakar, these 7-man conscripts quickly depleting. And yeah, Jesulin taking back a lot of field control. You can see on the mini-map actually, Weckla's position vastly compacted, and finally some engineers break through to the fuel points. So actually this is pretty desperate times right now for our Axis player. He needs to get something done. These mines here are so close to all of his really expensive squads. Like, oh my goodness me, 4 Faustramjägers go down to those mines. Pretty much best case scenario there for Jesulin, barring a squad wipe. And oh my god, he's even breaking through here and getting the cutoff. Is this the cutoff? Okay, sorry. But still, absolutely brutal. Wow, Jesulin just being an absolute monster here. Weckla, though, hasn't suffered any squad wipes. He hasn't lost his core infantry. He's definitely still in this. He's just depleted on resources. He's going to go for a Panzer IV. I mean, the Panzer IV is undoubtedly a fine choice. It handily outclasses both the T-70 and the T-34, whilst also being very effective against infantry. So I guess I'm fine with this choice. How much does a Jagdpanzer cost these days? 135 fuel. Yeah, see, I don't know, man. I kind of like the idea of a Jagdpanzer here. I mean, because you have to be cognizant of the fact that this is probably going to go to a late game scenario involving the ISU-152. And I just think that the Jagdpanzer will be more useful there. I don't know. I mean, you also need something which is effective against infantry, and the Panzer IV is obviously way better against infantry, so... And of course, 3imWeckla's judgment here is going to be way better than mine. Goodness me, this is a really tough situation. Weckla's position right now so compacted. Here comes the Panzer IV, but we've already got a Katusha out now for Jesulin. So that must be maneuvering for... Oh wow, look at these skins. That must be maneuvering to find a barrage, so listen out for when that starts opening up. Panzer IV announces itself, MG42, there were just enough munitions to get that going as soon as it came out, so that's going to start vetting itself up now. Faustramjägers being the third lance here, pushing forwards, but into T-34 and an amazing Katusha barrage, basically preventing these units from falling back. Volksgrenadiers here, 3-star squad, they run the gambit and they actually get out of there without getting tagged by a rocket, so very lucky for them. Panzer IV comes forward, Faustramjägers trying desperately to cap mid, but it's probably not going to be enough. There's a Maxim here in a ludicrously nice position. It's hosing down so much Axis infantry, and the Panzer IV just unable seemingly to find very much damage onto the Soviet weapon team. So Weckla here coming forward with a desperate attempt, as you can hear. 300 points under 424. He tried so hard, but he's just not even going to get mid, and he has no other map presence. He doesn't even have his fuel points, so this is getting super desperate right now. Jesulin up at 11 command points, 14, remember, the crucial amount for that ISU-152, and things just slowly starting to slide Jesulin's way, just increasingly here. I would crack the tack, but you can basically see everything you need to just by looking at the mini-map down here. The situation looking pretty dire for Weckla. That Katusha is just going to be so hard to deal with on this map. I mean, assuming Jesulin doesn't make a massive mistake with it, you're going to be very, very lucky to ever catch that Katusha. So he's just going to have to deal with rocket barrages about every 90 seconds or so. I mean, I imagine it's almost reloaded now. Yeah, it is. So this is a tough place right now for the Axis player. Now, to his credit, he still hasn't actually really lost any squads. His veterancy is coming along nicely. He still has a well-equipped, flexible army that has all the tools to take fights. He manages to pick up a Maxim squad right there, so that's something. Pushing forward, he's using for the Fatherland right now. Sorry, it's called Valiant Assault. And he manages to grab the Maxim, so he's going to have to fall back the Volks Grenadiers that grab that one. But nicely done, actually taking back middle of field control. He has one of the VPs already. Starts taking a fight here against the the Allied tanks. And the Fallschirmjäger sprinting through, desperately looking for a Faust. Nicely done. First star of veterancy comes up on the Panzer IV because he's been able to get some nice hits onto the Allied tanks. And there's a big old blob of Allied infantry here. Where's that captured Maxim? It's nowhere in the hood. I think it had to fall back. It did. But there's an MG-34 pushing up. Oh, Katusha barrage comes down to break the assault. Vehicle busted, grenade comes down. Panzer IV has its engine busted. Going to bravely retreat through the Katusha barrage, which should be fine, but you do risk feeding veterancy onto the Katusha this way. And a nice assault here from Weckla. He waited until the time was right. Uh-oh, Stuka barrage. Are we paying attention? Sorry, IL-2 barrage. Ah! Okay. All right, okay. All right, Jesulin, chill out, man. Calm down. Calm down. If those bombs hit, obviously they're hyper-destructive. So somewhere in all this, the Storm Pioneers did get gibbed, and they're being replaced right now. So an expensive loss right now. Oh my god, he still doesn't have his fuel. I thought behind this he would have been able to sneak out one squad and grab the fuel, but no. So, okay. Weckla gets himself out from under the cap that he was under. He has a double cap, and his units are spread out right now, grabbing fuel. He's even going to handily deny Jesulin's fuel for a bit, so that's nice. That is nice. But how much is an ISU-152? 260 fuel. So at the present rate of income, he's probably not quite going to have enough fuel, actually, when 14 CP rolls around. But there is an IS-2 looming in this game's future, and I would love to see that unit. I haven't seen an IS-2 for time, and, you know, it's obviously a very cinematic and incredibly deadly unit. In fact, combined with a Katusha on the field, I mean, that represents a lot of DACA, and these Fallschirmjäger are getting chased down with no support here. This T-34 definitely on for the squad wipe. Takes one final shot, gonna let the Axis infantry away. You don't want to push too much further. You don't know if there's mines or anything out there, and you'd feel pretty foolish losing a T-34 in pursuit of that Fallschirmjäger squad if you've ran foul of an ambush of some variety. Of course, he knows that there's two Kettenwerfers on the field, as Jesulin, so can't be too careful there. Okay, 4-star Fallschirmjäger. Wow, these guys pretty vet, but they're getting gibbed by two Soviet tanks here in the open. He needs to think about getting out there. 5-star Fallschirmjäger, though. Goodness me. What actually do they get at 5-star? Devastate the enemy when attacking from Caliban, improving their first strike ambush. Fieldcraft enables them to heal themselves when out of combat. Advanced weapon training. Okay, wow, so there's a lot of stuff there, but I feel that now is not the time to be reading that, because Weckla is trying to make another move. Katusha barrage comes down in this area. He's going to find an MG squad, but not much more. I don't know, though, these Axis infantry are also devastated. DP LMGs on the Volks Grenadiers, so a nice pickup has been found at some point there. Here comes the T-34. The Panzer IV is a 2-star vet now, and there's Kettenwerfer support, so the Allied armor has to fall back. A massive attack here from Weckla, who does not have the resources for Valiant Assault actually right now. So that's not an option. Just a large amount of DACA going down, but if you look at the minimap, both fuel right now in Jesulin's command. So I actually think, yeah, it's going to be ISU 152, yeah, time soon. Sorry, I just somehow forgot the name of that assault for a second. This T-34 just flanking the Kettenwerfer there really nicely. Whoa, brave move by this Panzer IV. He's going to use Blitz, or Overdrive, or whatever it's called. Combat Blitz, yeah. To try... Oh, unlucky not to find a penetrating hit there. Probably wouldn't have killed the T-34 either. Tags himself an anti-vehicle grenade for his trouble. And Jesulin right now using... what is this? Mark Vehicle. Oh, of course, yeah. To scare back the Panzer IV. And... no, I'm surprised at how little veterancy this Katusha has picked up. Just 3 kills. It's been a little bit unlucky with that one. So, okay, Weckla, you know, bowed but unbroken at the moment. Sneaking away with these squads. The T-70 desperately wants the squad wipe on them, but he's not going to find it. And now, okay, it's how much manpower? 680. All right, we can see Jesulin right now trying to align the resources so that he can actually call that unit in. He's going to have the fuel in about, I don't know, 40 seconds. He'll have the manpower for the devastating assault gun. And what answer is there for Weckla right now? I don't know. I just don't know. Perhaps if he'd have bought a Jagdpanzer earlier on. No, I don't know. I mean, this Panzer IV has been really good, like, so I don't know that we'd be in this state if he'd have gone for the Jagdpanzer, but I mean, he just has nothing that can reach out and touch an ISU-152, particularly with a Katusha supporting it and 2 tanks to hide behind. So I like where Jesulin has navigated his late game roster into. He's been very careful. Katusha finds some very veteran Fallschirmjäger there. It's going to feed some veterans onto it really nicely. Oh my god, this Katusha. Just a monster on the field here. 364 tickets for Jesulin, over 249 right now for Weckla, so about 110 points in it right now. A bit more actually. And that's the sound of silence because we can't actually hear it. There we go. That's an ISU-152, ladies and gentlemen. We have ourselves an ISU-152 in the wild. We caught one at last. I'm going to complete my like Pokedex of Company of Heroes tanks. Okay, yeah, not often you get to see this, and I have no idea what state it's in these days. Immediately buys the Dushka spicy pintle mount machine gun on it. Here he goes. Oh my god, you have to think that these Kettenwerfers are just gonna... Oh my god, a near miss there. Alright, well, now he knows it's an ISU-152. So let's have a look at the abilities here. You can load armor piercing, so you still have to choose your ammo type. You can tell it not to shoot, which is useful. You can tell it to prioritize vehicles. Concrete piercing round for 70 resources. That sounds nasty. And tracking increases your okay to 35 munitions. Alright, there we go. So there's the abilities. It's just... No! Oh my god, these guys are so clustered. They're gonna die. Oh, no, yep, okay, they're gonna die. Wow. Yeah, when your infantry is that clustered and your opponent has an ISU-152, that's when it's time for the triple Volksgrenadier breakdance. ISU-152 already making the Axis forces do amusing things. Some pretty strong physics on that gun. Man, this is worrisome times. Oh god, it's just taking huge. I mean, this is a really wounded up squad of veteran Fallschirmjäger. He knows they're there, buddy. He's probably just going to attack ground. Oh, he takes... Yeah, oh my goodness. This is a lot to deal with. How do you beat this? Honestly, I'm open to suggestions. It's 26 minutes in this game. You're 3imWeckla right now. In comments, what do you do right now? Because he actually still has a reasonable army. He just has no real answer for this composition that Jesulin's got to. Like, the Katusha is still just going to be hooting in for value. Somehow, if you look at the field control as well. Okay, I will say this, okay. The ISU-152 has one weakness. It is not very mobile. Loses a Kettenwerfer, that's a bitter shame. But yeah, the ISU-152 is not very mobile, so actually Jesulin's ability to harass these areas over here kind of significantly reduced. So I think that our Axis player, Weckla here, is going to have enough fuel. If he can get the manpower together, he can get himself a Panther, and that can actually threaten the ISU-152 at range, so that's important. 3-star veteran on this T-34, making a mockery here of the Axis units. Deary me. Pretty much all of the Axis units right now just taking a moment to get themselves in fighting order again, which they'll need to do. 3 stars on the Panzer IV is nice. T-34 gonna come forward here to challenge them. Conscript taking the VP. Jesulin knows what's important in this game. The ISU-152 just casting rounds into the Axis squads. If it gets nothing, that's fine, but every time there's like a 1 in 3 chance it just gives a squad effectively. Wow, the T-34 trading so well against that Panzer IV. That's got to be so frustrating for Weckla. He just needs something to go his way right now, and he's having a hard time finding that. ISU-152 going to position here to take a shot into this MG, and just instantly gives 2 guys. Coming up for its first star of veterancy on that mighty tank. Whoa! Grave stuff here as the Panzer IV comes forward. Definitely wants the T-34. Doesn't get it. In fact, cops an anti-vehicle grenade for his troubles. Getting up to 4-star vet though is nice. What do you get up here? Main gun to be pushed even further. Increasing accuracy. Increasing sight range when stationary and firing their main gun more effectively on the move. Wow. Panzer IV do get pretty good, don't they? Alright, so what's going to be the choice here? Weckla, you've got nearly enough manpower. Let's have a look. How much is a Panther? Is that what he's saving for? Has to be the Panther. Oh my god, it's such a savage unit to play against as the ISU-152. Very disheartening indeed. I'm surprised he's not suffered more squad wipes against this thing. In fact, yeah. Okay, it's going to be a Yagdi. Yagdi. Alright, we're going to see ourselves a Yagdi on the field, I guess. So this saves him a bit more fuel. It's a little cheaper on manpower. I feel like he was so close to having a Panther, he might as well have gone full hog. But you know what? What you need right now is a solution to the ISU-152. And I kind of think the Yagdi is the better one. You know, you can just micro it around here. You can basically mirror the ISU-152's micro. Just keep it facing towards, like, your opponent. Micro it back and forth. Leave it on prioritized vehicles. And they do vet up relatively quickly, it feels like, the Jagdpanzers. I mean, they are cheaper, and you don't get many more expensive targets to fire at than an ISU-152. So it's going to vet up faster. Once you get the Jagdpanzer to, like, I think it's Vet 2 when it gets, like, the penetration increase. We're going to check its veterancy when it comes out. Then it will be able to reliably penetrate all of this axis, all of this allied armor. For all of the ISU-152's advantages, you know, it does have very heavy front armor, but it's not the heaviest. So, okay, here we go. Jagdpanzer is here. Improved... Oh, so it's improved optics at 2-star, so it's at 3-star we get... You know what? Maybe it doesn't get... Oh, man, it has to be 5-star before it gets the improved pen. Okay, well, as you just heard on the announcer, 100 points now remaining for Weckla. He has to make something happen, and he has to make it happen soon. Nice, immediately getting a penetrating hit. Look how much veterancy that feeds onto the Jagdpanzer. What is this Jagdpanzer doing? Okay. The facing on the Jagdpanzer is crucial. Is that another Stuka barrage? Oh, it's the combined air assault. Wow, we don't often see this. 200 munitions was somehow saved up here by Weckla. So, okay, a load of stuff is just, like, unloading. Oh! The Katusha is going to start firing in here just because he just knows. Jesulin just knows. All he has to do is hold on to these points, and he'll win. Some Storm Pioneers, I think, just got gift or something. I don't know. A squad was just wiped out. And Jesulin just being ground under by these Soviet engagements. Even the mighty Stuka barrage is just not really helping a lot. Finally gets a squad wipe, but it was only some engineers. These Volksgrenadiers staying as long as they can. Weckla does stop the clock here for a minute. The ISU-152 is going to grind back in here, finds a Kettwerfer, but that's not enough. It does have its first star of veterancy, so it's starting to get a bit nasty. Oh, you have to be careful with the Jagdpanzer here. What are we doing? Uh-oh. It's going to expose the Jagdpanzer to a definite engine break here. It just desperately wants shots on the ISU-152, but look how Jesulin has positioned it. I think you need to bring the Jagdpanzer down here and try poking from this angle now, perhaps, because there's just too many conscripts on the dance floor here. 5-star Fallschirmjäger, though, is going to try and solve that problem very rapidly. Alright, here comes the Jagdpanzer, you need to turn this thing. Oh, wow. Where's he going? I don't know, there's also a Zis gun here to pair up with the ISU-152. I don't know. Oh, Weckla, I don't envy your position here. 86 tickets remain. Oh man, the PTRS is even finding this Jagdpanzer. That's so insulting. So insulting to be forced back by guards. Nicely done by Jesulin. The Panzer IV here, getting a bit desperate actually. Comes around for a super blitz here. Gonna be used for smoke. Oh, he gets the Tushka. Amazing. That's just amazing. Oh man, epic plays here, but he's probably going to lose his Panzer IV for it. I actually think that's probably a fine trade. The Zis gun gets retasked, so we can assume that's a dead Panzer IV. Keep an eye on its health here. It's just getting utterly spit roasted, there we go, by all kinds of nastiness. The ISU-152 even wants in on the action. I think positioning the ISU-152 like this, a mistake. I think you still want to keep this covering everything else, because that Panzer IV is dead. Between all these units, it's dead anyway, so turning the ISU-152 was risky. It was risky. Man, this Jagdpanzer has just, it got one good shot on the ISU-152, and that feels like that's all it's been able to get. Now it's being pushed away. Where are the Storm Pioneers? They need to come and repair this Jagdpanzer. And they will. Weckla somehow, still at 86 tickets, heroically has stopped the clock. Uh-oh, this Fallschirmjäger just needs to... Oh, God, they get... Oh, no, they're going to go down there. Oh, the ISU-152 gets the killing blow. How disheartening for the Axis player. Oh, no. He was just desperately staying to try and decap this because he knew he couldn't afford to be under the clock, but the model, the one Fallschirmjäger model that was in the circle got killed. So then he was staying with just a vulnerable squad for no benefit, and by the time he came back here and fell them back, he even did get the fallback before they died, but being hit between the shoulder blades by a ISU-152 round will have side effects for the squad, and that's what we saw demonstrated there. Yikes. This T-70 just continuing to be a monster. 15 kills, but it's been doing so much damage. It picks off yet another weapon crew, and that is its role here. It's even going to go for the kill on the Raketenwerfer. He probably does want to stay and finish that. Okay, he's cognizant of the Jagdpanzer actually. He chooses to get out of there. It's only a Raketenwerfer. He doesn't need to risk his T-70 to get that. Incendiary Grenade going to come down. Volksgrenadiers in an okay position here to make an assault. The ISU-152 taking shots still into the Axis infantry. A fallback comes down. They should... Oh no. Jesulin is firing at that squad. But he does get them out of there, so that's nicely done. Storm Pioneer is going to come forward here for damage. Volksgrenadiers get the decap, so we're off the clock. 69 tickets remaining now for Weckla. But it's still just a disgusting position. His army, actually, I didn't realize how few units he had remaining. He's just been ground down. He's just been ground down. And this is the game plan for Jesulin. When you go for this commander on this map, this is how you want the game to look. You just have these amazingly powerful Soviet units surviving consistently, pouring in damage, untouchable. And this map is small enough and open enough that the ISU-152 has been constantly in range of good targets. Its efficiency has just been so high. 2 stars veterancy on that thing now. Greater accuracy and frequency. And now, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it gets worse. That is... More frequency is just going to up the lethality of this ISU-152 so hard. Get out of here, Mr. Volk. You can't do anything. Oh my god, Jesulin. 64 tickets remain for Weckla, and that's going to start decreasing fast now as a triple cap. Going to be established shortly. These engineers going unanswered on the western command point. Oh man. What a game for Weckla. I feel for him. He really played his heart out, but I mean, you know, I hate to sound like this game's already over, but I think we can all tell that this game's already over. And that's rough. Oh, what a tough game. It's hard even to pinpoint a single thing that, like one particular thing that I could say, hey, you know, if Weckla did this, the game could have been different. Like, I'm going to go ahead and question his first choice of the Panzer IV. Oh god, I think the Fallschirmjäger is just finally going down to a mine there. But yeah, I'm gonna just ask, was a Panzer IV the right choice? Okay, his first Panzer IV was good, made it to Vet 5, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was the correct choice. We have a Star of Veterancy, so the active camo Jagdpanzer is now an option. But I mean, there's only 5 Axis units left. Oh god, the triple cap is here. Well played, Weckla. Really well played. I take my hat off to you. You did good. But, you know, what can mere Axis do in the face of such reckless ISU-152ing? It is tough times out here. Firing to the close here, refusing to give in, making a show of it here is Weckla. Displaying some real character. He's even going to have a play for this. Even going to have a play for the ISU-152. You know what? I reckon if this game went on for like... Oh, he loses the Jagdpanzer. If this game went on for like another 10 seconds, he may even have picked up the ISU-152 as a kind of, you know, salvaging some dignity out of this. But I say that. I think Weckla played this game so well. Yeah, he just... There came a point in this game where he just kind of... Jesulin was just getting slightly more efficiency and value out of each exchange, and Weckla's position got more and more compacted. So there was a time in the sort of mid-game where Weckla's position was super compacted, and then he managed to break out onto the map again, using his Panzer IV and a handy use of the Valiant Assault ability. And that was great stuff. And he was actually even able to like throw Jesulin back from the middle of the map like a couple of times, but there are just certain allied units, particularly certain Soviet units, which just continually provide value over time whilst they're alive, especially on a map this size. I'm talking about the Katusha and the ISU-152, because they're just constantly going to be chipping in for damage, causing accidental squad wipes, blunting otherwise well-advised advances, to maintain control over key areas of the map. So, you know, whenever the Axis player is like, okay, I really need to take a victory point, or okay, I really need to get like a fuel point, the Katusha is just a really good unit to say, okay, but actually this advance, you have to fall back, so you don't get to do that this time. And being able to do that to your Axis opponent is a really good way to win. And yeah, we saw Jesulin ride those kinds of advantages to victory here. Obviously, his micro was sick. His conscripts were just like healthy and alive pretty much the whole game. These guards were absolute brutes. And yeah, I mean, you know, the T-70, the T-34, both surviving way into the late game. And yeah, that was really nice. So I'm actually kind of a little bit stumped. I think Weckla put together a good game here, but it just wasn't good enough. Is this a good commander for this map? I'm not so sure. I mean, it's a great all-round commander, but this is a very specific map, which is very open, where all of your units that have long range are basically always firing. So I feel like you might need something else on this map, actually, other than just good core infantry and abilities to support them. I feel like this is a good commander for a slightly bigger map, perhaps. So yeah, I'd be curious. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, what could Weckla have done differently in this battle, other than get matched against a less capable opponent? Because goddamn, Jesulin, pretty powerful. Anyway, yeah, that was a pleasure to cast. What a great battle, and rare, of course, to see an ISE 152 in the field. Really entertaining. And that will conclude this video. Thank you very much for watching, and this for now, Magpie 842 signing out.